Welcome back to Passionate About Music Education, a channel dedicated to music educators just like you and me. My name is Rachel Hardman, and today I'm going to talk about presenting a school concert. A couple of weeks ago, I went to see a really amazing school concert. They had all their school bands playing, and it was just a joy to see so many talented, enthusiastic students on the stage playing a wealth of instruments and playing some really challenging works. The audience was packed and very supportive of what was going on in the auditorium, and it was a beautiful theatre. And it was really nice to be sat as an audience member as opposed to somebody on the stage, because it gave me a chance to reflect on what really makes a great concert and what we as educators can do to engage with the audience and engage the concert from a presentation point of view. So here are a couple of thoughts from that evening that I'd like to share with you. The first one was that it didn't have a printed programme, which is perfectly fine. A lot of people don't want to print programs. It's very time consuming to make the program, and then obviously photocopying it, and the sort of maybe the environmental issues that certain schools have about this, which is absolutely acceptable. But the challenge was, as from an audience point of view, was I never knew what the children were playing, because that wasn't really ever announced. So if you go down the whole no program, find a way to either include in your presentation as you're talking to the audience what the pieces are and who the composer are, and maybe some kind of general story about it, of why you picked the work, or at least project onto a PowerPoint back screen the name and title, so that people in the audience do know what the piece is that the children are playing. The concert had some amazing pieces, and I sat there and went, gosh, I'd love to go and do this with another band. So I think make sure that you have your program, and if you don't have a printed program, find a way of at least communicating what the pieces are that your groups are performing. Which leads me to point 2, is why did you pick the pieces? Was the piece the band favourite? Was it because you wanted to do film music? Was it because you heard another band play it 5 years ago and you wanted to include it in your program? Why did you pick the piece? Why this particular piece your students are performing? Does it showcase your very best flute player? Did you pick it because it shows off the brass section who have just made so much progress? In your presentation, when you're talking to the audience, and you need to come across with this approachable, inclusive collaboration between the students, yourself, and the parents, because it is the parents predominantly in your audience of the students performing, and they want to know, it's like, why are they playing this particular piece? For me at school, our school always played the A-Team. It was one of the band's favourite pieces, and the audience loved it. So to talk about why to perform it, why have we picked it and put it in the program, is an easy one, because it's just the band favourite, and they play it, and our trumpet section were amazing, and you could play all those high notes. Give some context of why you've picked the music, but it doesn't have to be like a 4-hour program of you presenting. It can just be down to 1 minute of this next piece is because of 3 points, 2 points, and then play the piece. The audience will really appreciate it, because it will give them connection to the music and to your program, and understand why you're doing this particular music with their children. At point 3, again, if you're doing a piece of music that features certain soloists or certain talented students, name them. I mean, if you're not going to have a program, at least stand up, get the students to stand up and say their name, because of course their parents are going to be super happy about it, but other parents will be connected to them. So, they'll be the friends of whichever child, and they'll want to celebrate that. So celebrate that. Obviously, the flip side of that is if you have the same people featured every single concert, people get funny about that, because they're like, well, what about my child? So you do have to keep a balance, which is maybe why in your program you have everybody's name in it, so at least the parents can keep the program as a memorabilia of their child's education. Or if you're not going to do a program, again, you could have the list of all the performers projected onto a screen behind you. Find a way of ensuring that you name the students who are performing. Point 4 If you're going to do a bit of talking and presenting, again, the context, at some point, talk about the challenges the group have. Maybe they rehearse at 7:30 in the morning and that they meet once a week. So people understand what your music program is. The end product, the performance, of course, is your showcase, but actually people need to understand how hard it is to get to that polished performance. For some people, they don't have band 5 times a week where they see the students once, for an hour a day, and they have specialist teachers who come in. Some people really have to, like yourself, have to do all these clubs before school at lunchtime, and you have to put extra time in, and your clarinet players don't have one-to-one lessons. They have group, or they don't have any lessons. They have, those pink clarinets, whatever challenge you have. That is a journey. Your story of your band is the journey. And people love those stories. They want to know that, your band get together every morning and this is what we do, and this is what we work on, and these are the challenges, and this is the success that's come from the limited time we have. So people go, wow, I didn't realise how much work you have to do and how little time you have, and why that practice after school and at home with their instrument is so important, because many people in the audience don't really understand. You understand. You know what your program looks like. You know what your students are doing. You know how hard you have to work to get your finished concert. Share that information. Educate your audience members. By doing that, you'll get more buy-in, and they will keep coming back and supporting your music program in the long term. You are marketing your program, but you're also educating. And my final point is to keep it slick, which, as I've just said, to put loads of content in there is quite challenging to do. But keep your performance slick. So use the time to talk about what's happening in your performance and your groups or presenting or whatever it is you're telling the audience about as an opportunity for the stage to move, for you covering up the fact that maybe your bands are changing and they need a new setup and you've got your stage management team doing that. You are filling that gap. You are keeping the flow of your concert. It can get awkward in the audience if you're sat there for 5 minutes going, why aren't they playing? Why is nothing happening? Why is everything at a slow speed? You tend to then get people go, well, I'll just stay for my student, my child, and then I will go. I don't want to sit through that change. So keeping that presentation and sort of the stage management of your concert very slick is really important. In this concert, there was a change, but the conductor then, after presenting, walked off while the children came on. They tuned up. Then he came back on and bowed. And although there's nothing wrong with that, and it is, concert etiquette, in some ways it slowed the progress of the concert really down. It took away some of the magic of it, because there was this 5 minutes of just nothingness, and that could easily have been shortened, and more joy about the music being played shared with the audience. Presenting concerts is a challenge, and you will never please every audience member, you'll never please every admin, because in each school they'll have their own different concepts of what a concert should look like and how it should be presented. You have to stay true to yourself, and the ultimate goal of the concert is to celebrate the success and progress of your students, whether they're beginners, intermediate, advanced, whether your band has been playing for a year or been playing for 5 years. You are showcasing what they can do. And if you remember that all the time, and the people you are showcasing it to are predominantly their parents who are sat in the audience, the people who pay for the lessons, the people who drive their child to the rehearsals and the concerts and go and order the reads, they are the people that are actually the most important in your audience, because they are the ones who support your program and with their child. They want to feel connected, and that's your job as a music educator. What are your best tips for presenting concerts? Why don't you leave them in the comments below, share with our music community, and of course don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification for new videos. And I will see you here again very soon on Passionate About Music Education.